Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the J22 Report. I'm your host, Johnnie Market. You all know that drill. Hit that like button, subscribe if you already haven't. And I just want to do another video just today. Did Jimmy Carter, he basically shut down the markets due to his passing. No opinion. I'm not going to talk about Jimmy Carter or anything. Whatever your opinion is, that's your opinion. Whatever the basic, yeah, he passed, whatever. So anyway, since the markets were closed, I didn't really get a chance to look at the news much today. I want to do a couple of things, a couple of things I didn't know. So let me share in terms of the stock market. There's like two things I wanted to talk about. I had these things, and this is just I thought. One of the reasons, if you look at this right here, foreigners right here, allocation to equities. And if you look at it, it's been this high. The last time it was even remotely this high was around 98 to 99. And what happened was the stock market really went down. And then you can tell this is probably around '08. As the stock market kept going up, the allocation of foreigners went up. So if you look at it, it follows and you can see in the beginning of the '70s, and then there was inflation, stagflation. It sort of came all like as the stock market went down. So for whatever reason, foreigners tend to chase U.S. stocks, and it's never been this high. So if you look at it, this is, in my opinion, a sign the stock market's getting frothy. I don't think it's that big, but and then the next one is if you look at this, fewer than 32% of the S&P 500 companies this year. It's one of the lowest readings over the last 50 years. In fact, that performance is identical to that of 98 and 99. Now, so if you look at the bursting of the tech bubbles, there's two foreigners. Holdings in the US haven't been this high since around that time period. And and if you look at it, bar chart, same thing. 32% of the S&P 500 companies outperformed the S&P 500. That's the lowest since 98, 99. So the other thing I wanted to do is there was this thing, and I feel like I just wanted to point this out because it's all lost. When they talk about American talent and tech and the shortage. And I didn't know this, but my wife is from Eastern Europe, and so I follow their stuff, and I didn't know this, so I was gonna go look at it and show that like the H-1B one is a scab. If you look at the global rankings, these are the countries with the best developers, by all the challenges and everything. And these are, if you look at it, I'd say 70% of our H-1B1s is in India. United States, the tech workers in the United States actually outperform. So when they say it's about high skilled, it's just not true. The rankings are software development, best developers. They're right here. And if it really was about, like, number one is China, number two is Russia. Now you can argue these are political adversaries. So, okay, so if it is about high skilled, then look at Poland, Switzerland, Hungary, Japan, Taiwan. Taiwan, which is a political ally, Japan. Why aren't the H-1B ones coming from these countries? Like Poland, they're the only country that support us in Iraq war. Think of what you want. It was Poland and Britain, I think. Switzerland, Czech Republic, France. Like these are the high performing nations with the best tech workers, that aren't political adversaries to the United States. So that's the first thing I just wanted to point out in this short video is you see it right here. It's Selecta, Talent Solutions, Global, and right here, which most people don't know, Eastern Europe has probably per capita programming, the best programmers in the world. This is just highly skilled index in terms of like China's a big country. Poland has more people, but this is just per capita is probably Japan, honestly. But Italy, Ukraine, there's they have a very strong Bulgaria, Singapore. I'm surprised Germany so low. But yeah, if you look at it, a lot of them, that's where if H1B1 was skilled, that's where a lot of them would come from. These are the rankings and top, and you can tell like the U.S. tech industry is a joke. Like the streaming, they couldn't get the NFL playoffs correctly with Netflix and then Peacock. They couldn't even Peacock. They couldn't even get not just Peacock, but Netflix. No, Netflix got the NFL playoffs right. Netflix couldn't get the Tyson Paul fight correctly, and then Peacock couldn't even get the NFL playoff correctly. And there's always problems. So that's the other thing. The other thing, it just came to my mind about wages. And I want to just show this Germany surplus to show you that wages are not uh, that. And I just remember this from looking up, but everyone says, we have to outsource our US because wages are what keeps it down. That's just not true. And here's one thing, Germany, according to recent data, Germany has higher wages than the US. But when adjust now, average salaries may be higher, but when they adjust for the longer working hours in the US, Germany has a higher wage, so a higher per hour wage than the US. Now, in terms of their trade, we have a mass trade deficit, but Germany has a mass trade surplus. And they actually have a trade surplus with China. So now exports have decreased, but their imports have also decreased. So the whole thing about wages, it's just a scapegoat. It's not really it's not really true. And the other thing I wanted to say, um, I'm just going to use another example. There's tons of places in Europe, but now Norway does have oil. But if you actually look at Norway again, if wages were everything, and they say we can't compete, Norway, they have a trade surplus of 78.61 billion. And if you look at it, they have significantly higher wages than the United States. So that is also the other thing. So everyone that says wages or I'm going to try one other thing just off the top of my but I just wanted to show. And here's another country, another country. and it's Luxembourg, which is known, it's a small country. It's like a country, uh, but here's Luxembourg too. From here it is. They have a trade surplus with China, and their wages are also higher than the United States. So there's numerous countries out there that have, I was going to say, have many that have higher wages than the US, but they're able to export much more. And that's just what I want to say is that wages are a measure of productivity based on what I would say minimum. And higher wages mean higher productivity, which means you can make more, produce more, and generally flood the market with. And in academia, they, and I would say other things, corporate media, whatnot, they teach us high wages as a bad thing and costly for business, when in reality, it's just not true. If you look at it, I just showed you many of countries that are doing really well. In fact, just if anything, if anything, to a society, a functioning society, they're a necessity. You can't have a functioning society without high wages. And here's an example, Finland, which has an incredible, you can say what you want, but wages are part of the reason, consistently ranked as one of the happiest, as the happiest countries in the world. It's happiest Scandinavian, one of the happiest in the country. Let's see, Finland wages higher than the US. Let's see. And this is so their wage is lower than the US. So, but Scandinavian countries, let's say Finland has a trade surplus with China. Everyone talks about trade wars. Oh, they do not have a surplus with China either. So, anyway, but there's Norway and other countries. So, I'm just going to look. Is Norway one of the happier countries? One of the happiest countries. I'm gonna, before I hit, I will, for transparency reasons, share my screen so you can see what I'm typing in. Let's see if you can learn. According Norway is considered one of the happiest countries. Germany, I would say is not. I have to say wages aren't everything. They have their problems, as you can tell from the Christmas market and everything. But Norway, let's see, is Luxembourg the happiest countries? Just see, well, yeah, Luxembourg is one of the happiest. So higher wages. Let's just see, does Finland pay high wages? Let's see what it says. So it does have higher wages than average monthly wage, 4,000 euros. So that's still pretty good. And I bet you if you control it, like the middle of Finland gets paid more than the middle of, I'm just guessing now, than America. America has so many billionaires and executive compensation so high. I bet you the reason why is if you take out the top 10% of America, I bet you Finland probably has higher wages. But I mean, I can't prove that. I'd have to see. But yeah, anyway, higher, like the Fed always talks about how wages are causing inflation and their problems, and they have to knock wages down. And the truth is, wages are not a bad thing. High wages are not a bad thing. Uh, and they're necessary to a functioning society. And if you look at America, wages in real terms have really been going down. And that's one of the reasons this country is no longer functional. And it's going to get nasty and it's going to get really bad. And I talked about how the stock market's expensive. I think they will suffer real deflation in the future. There's a lot of problems, not just economically, but politically, socioeconomic, among other things that we're just gonna have to deal with. And anyway, that's all I have. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. Just disclaimer, nothing should be construed as financial investment advice, just my opinions and thoughts on the market.